We'll get ourselves going for our next hour of Pilates. Okay, so once you're ready, feet are in parallel. Find your comfortable space on the mat. Just checking as we've visited the last couple of weeks, that sense of grounding, so you're not necessarily leaning forwards or backwards. Find that happy space. Roughly 60% forwards on the balls of the feet and about 40% on the heels there. So just make sure you've got that weight distribution nice and even. Hands, remember, we're just settling them down, but not forcing them too much. Gently easing them towards the floor and towards the back of you if you can, slightly to open the chest. Okay, so when you're ready, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, so you're just going to start to settle that breath. Hands a little bit further around to your side for me, Kate. So just easing those hands a little bit more. That's it, not too much, but just gently open the chest there. Okay, so you'll start to just think of your natural breathing. If you want to close your eyes, go ahead and just take these few moments to let the breath settle. In through the nose and out through the parted lips for the Pilates breathing pattern. And as you breathe in, start to think of your own natural setup, the things that perhaps are relevant to you. Perhaps it's that sense of growing nice and tall and lifting every vertebrae. Perhaps it's that sense of really breathing into this upper thoracic area, this rib cage, this lung space, and you know you're maybe a natural belly breather. Perhaps it's making sure that you feel nice and relaxed and that you've had a tense morning already. Okay. So whatever is relevant for you, just getting yourself into your space as you breathe in. And if we can all think about our core activation and pelvic floor area as well, as you zip through our postural checkup. Breathing in as you exhale, drawing that belly to spine, start to activate those muscles. Start to feel like if I was going to press you in that belly button area or around about that lower abdominal area, there's an element of tension when you exhale with these muscles sliding over each other, or muscle fibers, I should say, gently locking as you exhale and contract. Equally through the pelvic floor area, let's just wake that up a little bit this morning. Breathe in as you exhale, just gently drawing up the pelvic floors between the areas of the front and back passage areas, just drawing up and in. And one more lovely breath in, growing nice and tall. Exhale. And just open your eyes and bring yourselves back into your rooms. Okay, we're just going to add on a little bit this morning, just revisiting some of the rib cage connection we looked at in week 1. Go ahead and pop your hands around the lower rib cage area, just underneath the pectoral muscles and your chest. Okay, and I want you to just breathe in and just notice the movement of the rib cage as you inhale and exhale, just gently breathing in. And notice that gorgeous expansion of those ribs and the contraction as you exhale. So we're going to imagine also that these ribs, for all intents and purposes, are like a stack of hula hoops. Okay, each one a ring of hula hoops. And I mean the hula hoops are lovely waist hula hoops as opposed to the crisps. Okay, so you're thinking of them stacked up, one on top of the other, connecting towards that spine at the back of you. Now, as we exhale this next time, I want you to think of the lower ribs towards the front, just slowly drawing down towards those 2 hip bones and slightly shortening the space between the bony masses of the ribs and the pelvis. Okay, so as you exhale, gently pulling down those front lower ribs, they're slightly floating, these lower ribs, they don't actually connect. But that's neither here nor there. You're going to gently ease them down. And with this, we're going to be thinking about the front edge of these hula hoops will be drawing closer towards each other as we head into this gentle flexion movement towards the front. Now we're going to think about the opposite this next time. We're going to breathe in. As we exhale, imagine the ribs towards the back, the lower ribs towards the back of you, slightly drawing down. Now this isn't quite as easy for us, and perhaps the visual might be easier if you think of a slight pulling down of the shoulder blades as we head into some slight flexion. And we try and draw the ribs slightly together towards the back. And then the ribs are opening towards the front. Okay, so we're into flexion as we ease the ribs closer at the back. Of course, they're slightly restricted by the spine, more so in flexion. So we're using a bit of the vertebrae too, as we just gently pull the ribs and of course the vertebrae together towards the back. Bring yourself back to center, hula hoops perfectly stacked and central. Heading into lateral flexion, again, take a breath in. And let's go ahead and we're going to move over towards the right, just gently ease over towards the right, that right elbow slightly lowering towards the floor and come back to center, breathing in. Grow tall, stack the hula hoops and over towards the left, gently easing the ribs together on the left side, your left elbow slightly lowering. And of course, we then get that opening on the right. One more time, either side, breathe in. Just the rib cage, of course, the pelvis, the hips are staying perfectly still. Let the ribs do the work. And of course, connecting very closely to the spine. And that's our bonus. Breathing in. And one more time to the left, just gently closing the ribs on the left elbow lowering, and draw yourself back to center and releasing the arms. Okay, we're going to take ourselves down into sitting. So go ahead and sit straight away down on the floor. Our legs are towards the end and extended, roughly hip width apart for me, guys, if you can. And our toes are up towards the ceiling. Okay, so we've done a little bit of that work just to work on some movement through the spine, because we're going to go straight ahead into some detailed spine work. Okay, some nice work on this spine. So when we're sat, gorgeous, well done. Toes up towards the ceiling, hips, toes hip width apart. Okay, what I'd like you to do is make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. We've explored this a little bit with our C-curve work, holding the legs. Go and find that lift in the lumbar spine, really pulling that spine towards the ceiling, and take your arms, and I'd like you just to settle them down by your sides. Just really gentle feather touch with the fingertips on the floor either side of you. Now, we can actually use these almost as a little measure, these fingertips, okay? So as you breathe in, I want you to exhale and maybe slide those fingertips a little tiny bit wider, okay? And we're talking millimeters of stretch, breathing in, growing tall. Exhale and reach those fingertips a millimeter wider. So you've really got that pull on the humerus bone and the length through the shoulder. Breathe in, exhale, and reach those fingertips nice and wide. Next time we exhale, we're going to lift those fingertips to the sky, up to shoulder height, and just gently lift and maintain that lovely tall spine. Breathing in when your fingers are down. Exhale, float the arms to shoulder height, maintaining that lovely lift. So there's no lean forwards, there's no lean back. Breathing in, exhale, and lift to shoulder height and down. This next time, lift the arms to shoulder height and hold for me, holding here with the arms. Flick your fingers forwards now. So you're pointing your fingers towards your toes. And we're now going to go into our first part of our spine stretch. Still growing nice and tall. Let's take a breath in. And as we exhale, I want you to tuck your chin to your chest and start bringing your fingertips to meet each other in front of you. Belly buttons pulling in towards your spine. And you've given this maybe imaginary tree in front of you a gorgeous big hug. And then open nice and wide to the side. Grow tall, breathe in. Arms nice and long if you can for me through the elbow joint. Exhale, coming forwards, fingertips reaching forwards for our hug. And then one more time and pause forwards, breathe in. Tuck your chin to chest, fingertips coming together, pausing here and lowering your nose now towards your knees as we head into our spine stretch forwards. Well done, drawing yourself back up so your fingertips are at eye height and out towards the side. Let's float the arms down for a second and reach one more time on the floor. Breathing in, lift your arms, flicking the fingers forward. Exhale as the fingertips come together, chin to chest, nose to knees. And lift, opening out the chest and lower down with an inhale. Exhale, lift. And forward, speeding it up slightly into your flow, up and release the arms and lowering back down. One more time. Lifting your arms broad, flicking those fingers together to reach forwards, opening through the chest and down we go. Oh, sorry, across the shoulder blades and down we go into our nose to knees and release. And there we are. Popping your legs now together, we're going to head into our spine twist. So these arms have had a little bit of warm up as well. Legs are glued together, heels are pressing away, toes towards your knees. Go ahead and lift those arms just gently into your T section, T by your side, T arm position. We're going to go into our rotation for spine twist. So breathe in for me and let's all go ahead and just turn to the side. Doesn't matter which side, perhaps you want to still face forward, that's fine. Now pause here for a second. Just breathe in, feel the lift of the rib cage, those hula hoops of the ribs. Exhale, come back through to center. Breathe in, grow tall, and rotate the opposite way. Pausing here, breathe in. Maintaining that height, come through back to center. First way, off we go. Breathe in, exhale, and over to the first direction. Pause. Pause here. Now, I want you to think about the ribs that are currently towards the front of you, i.e. if you're heading towards the right, it's your rib cage area towards the left. The lower left ribs, I want you to breathe in and breathe into those lower left ribs and slightly lower them a tiny bit, or at least pull them slightly down, and then see if you can twist a little millimeter or further into the rotation. Okay, bring yourself back to center. We'll try that again. Breathe in. Rotate towards your side, your chosen side. Now the opposite lower rib cage, breathe into that space and gently pull it down ever so slightly, just like we did at the outset, and try and twist a little tiny millimeter or so further. Come back through to center one more time, breathing in. And exhale, rotation, pausing here. Breathe into your opposing, so the opposite direction, lower rib cage, and twist a tiny bit more. And last time, breathing in. Okay, and that should just give us that little tiny bit of extra rotation through the thoracic spine, that upper rib cage area, by just taking out that lower rib cage height ever so slightly, and release the arms back down for a rest. Take the legs wide now, so finish off our twist sequence with the saw. So again, we can use those little tiny lessons that we just learned there, that slightly lowering of the rib cage. So as we head towards it, for example, and I'll just show you the saw on the left, remember it's the right lower ribs that are going to slightly lower and rotate or slightly condense and draw themselves together, and you get slightly deeper into that saw. Okay, so have a go at adding that on for us this morning. When you're ready, let's go ahead for saw, arms at T, breathe in. And exhale, rotation. So now you're heading opposite hand towards opposite foot, looking over your shoulder. And if you can, add that little tiny extra pull of the rib cage down on the opposite side. So if you're heading the left, it's the right rib cage pulls down, and switch direction. Okay, if it's just a little bit too much, a bridge too far, too many things going on, just go ahead with your standard saw. That's absolutely fine. Where you're going to rotate, you're pushing the palm up behind you, looking over the shoulder, aiming for your knee and nose to become close allies. Okay, so you're looking to try and draw that nose somewhere down towards that knee. Final twisting and drawing yourself back to center. Gorgeous, well done. Bring your legs back together at the same time if they will get over that mat without lumpy bumpy sliding. And we're going to bend the knees ever so slightly. So not a really tucked up leg, but just away from you towards the end of the mat if you can. Hands, go ahead and pop them behind the back of your head, cradling the head, thumbs around the jawline. And we're going to just do 2 or 3 little gentle C curves. So tall nicely, growing through the spine, breathe in, exhale. And as you remember from last week, perhaps a very mini tuck of the pelvis towards the belly button, and then just deepen with the belly button pulling through to the lower spine, just to open that lower lumbar spine 1 or 2 times. Okay, so once you've done this 2 or 3, maybe this is our last one, I want you to pause in the sitting up position. And I'd like you to go ahead and look towards the right front corner of your mat, okay? So we're going to just start off looking towards the right front corner. We're going to do the C curve with this slight angle. So breathe in, tuck of the pelvis, pull the belly button through that lower lumbar spine, and on the same side, come back up and sit front to center where we breathe in. Rotate to the left corner of your mat and release back on that angle, continuing to keep your eye line down that left side of you as you head back into your C curve. We have 1 or 2 more either side. Let's just mobilize down the lower back, and we're going to dig a little bit more deeply into this in our bridge work shortly. So let's just make sure we're mobilizing down the side of the spine. Okay, 1 more time either side. And then when you've finished your last one, make this your last one, come back into center and release your arms, and now go ahead and place them behind the back of your legs. We're going to take ourselves down onto the mat, guys. So breathe in, grow tall. Exhale with your C curve. We might as well just use this as another opportunity to just peel down and mobilize the whole spine. Release the legs as you get down onto the mat, and we're lying down. Go ahead and have a full mat stretch for me. For a moment, just stretching through from fingertips to toes. Okay, making sure you feel nice and elongated along that mat. And then we're going to roll over onto our tummies. So we're going to do some back work. So roll over. I'm going to face this way. Okay, so you're rolling onto your mats. Tummies down, heads down, and our arms to begin with are back in that T position, okay? So they're outstretched by the side of you at shoulder height. Okay, I'm just going to put my camera down ever so slightly because with all this going on down here, you might get a little bit of a dog also involved here as well. There we are. There she is. Okay, so we're foreheads down. If you need to pop anything under your forehead, a block, a book, a cushion, then go ahead. And we are having our arms outstretched to the side. Legs are nice and relaxed. If you need to just wiggle your bottoms to relax the lower spine, go ahead. And again, feel the reach of those fingertips. Breathe in and exhale and reach. Find that stretch through the shoulder joint. So it's nice and long. We've got that space in the soft tissue between the bony masses of the actual joint and the arm. Okay, breathing in, exhale, reach and stretch. Now we're first thinking of the lift of the arm. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to breathe in, the forehead stays down, and we're going to try and just lift both arms at the same time, about 5 centimeters or whatever is available to you off the mat, off the floor, beg your pardon, and down onto the floor with your breath in. Exhale and lift the arms. Now, once we've got this going, this is fairly easy work. The arms are nice and long. But I want you to focus now on also bringing that belly to spine. Okay, so when you lift your arms, as the arms lift, really bring the belly in as well to support the lower back. Because, of course, sometimes when the arms start to lift, the back wants to flex, and then you get that sense of contraction through or tension through the lower spine. So think of these things as going hand in hand, arm lift, belly engaging, and down. Okay, pausing after this next time, just gently pause with the arms down. And I'm going to remind you of the pull forwards that we have been doing for the last couple of weeks. I'm thinking that penny is probably dropped where we've had the hands underneath our heads. Don't change your shape, but I'm just reminding you of, do you remember we're putting that forehead forwards along the mat? And we're trying to almost take our bodies away from the pelvis. We're going to do that same feeling as we lift our arms, bringing in the belly, pull yourself. Even though you've not got anything to pull against, you've not got your arms down, there is no purchase of the forearms, just lengthen the body and lower. Breathe in. So this is a third thing on the to-do list. Arms are lifting, belly's pulling in, and you're stretching along the mat as much as you can in your mind's eye. Okay. There are 5 things on the to-do list, okay? So I hope you're taking a mental note of all these bits and pieces. Our next level, if you are happy to go ahead, is a lift belly and grow through the crown. And then we send our arms down towards our bottoms. Palms are facing in towards our thighs. And then we release the arms to the side and back down. So with a breath in, lifting the arms, sending them towards your bottom, palms faced in, belly in, growing long, no forehead lift yet. And down. We've got one more breath in, lifting arms, using those lats, now pulling down with the shoulder blades as those palms turn in, grow long, and pause there. Okay, the final piece, which is going to be an addition of the last week's work, is a back lift. We are not looking to head into extension. We are looking to grow long. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to simply bring the hands up off the floor. Draw in the belly as you draw the hands by your sides, nose and forehead lift, and we are long, 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 pulling every vertebrae towards your crown of the head and release back down. We've got 3 more, breathing in and exhale, belly in, almost like you're floating on the front of your pubic bone and perhaps the rib cage, not pressing the belly into the mat. We've got 2. Did I say 2? Let's go for 2 more. Perhaps as an echo. This is our last one. Breathe in, lifting those arms. They're really super wide. Forwards into your dart. Lift, lift, lift. Legs are down. And then release onto the mat. Wonderful. Okay, tuck in your hands now by your shoulders. Bring your legs together, toes under, pushing into a child's pose. Gently releasing your bottom towards your heels. If you can sink your bottom to your heels, go ahead for the moment. If to be able to do that, you need to broaden your knees wide, then that's also absolutely fine. Just pause here for a second and breathe. Breathe into the front of the rib cage, breathe into the belly this morning. And let whatever response happens at the front of your bodies, because we're going to work a little bit on the back area now. If you have got your legs wide, just draw them together. And I want you to slide your hands forwards to the front of the edge of the mat so your bottom lifts off your heels. Okay, so your bottom's up. Now your forehead might be down on the mat. It might not quite make it onto the mat, and that is fine, because what I want you to now do is just relax your shins on the mat in case they're hovering or tense. Think about your shoulder blades, those two lovely triangle bones on your back. I want you to breathe into that area, the back space of the rib cage. Really breathe in, almost like you're trying to start a half cat stretch. Okay, this is across the upper back. I'm not looking for you to do pelvic tilts or into the lumbar spine here. Breathe into the shoulder blade area and then relax. So you should almost feel that lifting and lowering of the shoulders, of the shoulder blades as you breathe in. Perhaps even your head tucks. Do you remember week 1? Maybe that head chin tucking in towards your spine and throat space as you do so. We've got one more. Lovely. Breathe into that back space and release. Well done. Okay, onto our fronts now again. However, this time we're going to be slightly raised on our forearms with our hands in our fist shapes for our single leg kick. So pop in your elbows roughly underneath the shoulder area. So if they're out here, you'll really struggle. Okay, you need to bring those elbows in. Okay, shoulder blades are back and down, and perhaps when you do that, it even starts to lift the heart space a little bit naturally. Okay, but what we are trying to do is lift that heart space as well. So your light is shining from the chest forwards. And of course, with that, we've got that lengthening of the spine from the belly button through to your throat space. Legs are long. Let's go ahead and really lengthen those legs. And I'd like to lift your right leg so it's hovering off the mat by maybe 4 or 5 centimeters, just a small hover, still maintaining that length of the spine. Okay, sometimes that can immediately get a bit too much into the lower back. So still pulling forwards, breathe in, exhale, opposite leg lifts by only about 5 centimeters. And remember, this is long and not high. One more time, either side, breathe in, exhale, growing through the spine, lifting. So you're supported in this flexion and down. One more time, single leg lift. And this time we're going to add in our heel to bottom. So when you bring your heel up into float, we're then going to bring your heel towards your bottom, and then we're going to flex at the ankle, and you flex with a heel pull and release. Okay, on the other side, gentle float, then point, flex and down, float, point, flex and down, whoops, and float, point, flex and down, float the leg, point, flex and down. One more time, point, flex and down. We're now going to see if we can switch it up, okay? So as you lift your leg, we're going to flex, point and down. Lift the leg, flex, point, down. Just get that brain thinking, flex. I know mine's already confused. And flex, point, down. This time, flex, point, down, and flex, point, down. Wonderful. Swinging your arms now around towards your back, popping your forehead on the mat. Okay, so this is forehead down, not on the cheek this morning, and zip your legs together for me. Let the elbows relax down towards the mat either side, so those broad shoulders are nice and broad and open through the between the shoulder blades. Okay. Okay, so that's our, I'm going to just think about the first thing doing, which is adding on to the dart work. Okay, so what I want you to do is no arms to begin with and breathe in. As you exhale, remember that belly button pulling into your tummy, and you're going to lift 2 legs this time, double leg lift by about 10 centimeters and lower. So now we need that really long spine. Remember, breathing in, exhale, no upper body work, just a double leg lift. And lower. Breathe in. Now see what is available to you. Perhaps you can think about lengthening. Perhaps you can think about lifting a little bit more. If it doesn't come into your lower back, it's up to you. And we're going to add on here if you can. The add-on is going to be pulling the arms down towards your bottom as the legs lift. And if you can add another layer, and you're more than welcome, it's the head and forehead lift as well into your full lifted dart. It's totally up to you what level you go at. If you want to just remain with the leg lift, you're more than welcome. The pull of the arms with the leg lift, or the lift of the head. Exhaling all the time and thinking belly and length. Okay, belly to spine and length. As you lift for 2, Make this your final one. Breathing in, gentle resistance work for that back. Lift and release. Gorgeous. Well done. Into our child's pose, however you feel comfortable getting there. Tucking your hands by your shoulders, toes under, and push into child's pose. Okay. So we're going to bring ourselves into 4-point kneeling for the next series of pieces. You might need to come towards the front edge of your mat, so drawing yourself forwards and working a little bit on our lower limbs for this next piece. So 4-point kneeling in our lovely strong position, shoulder blades are pulling down, necks along. So try not to be tempted to look at those knees. Belly is just gently activated and pulled in towards spine, but not necessarily right into a cat position. Okay, so natural spine. Let's go ahead and extend your right leg out towards the end of the mat, toenails down. Belly button in and a single lift of the leg to bottom height and lower to begin with. Breathing in. And as we go through this lift, I want you to really think about what you've just been working on, that belly to spine, so we don't come into the back into flexion. You're going to be thinking about the leg being super long, just like the arms you've done a moment ago. Really imagine you're just land grabbing as much as you can behind you with those legs and the toes reaching, reaching, reaching. And we've got 2 more. Exhale, lift. And this next one, pause with a leg raised for me. Go ahead and pause. And here we're going to now flex at the knee and the ankle. So you've got your right angle at the knee and you've got a right angle at the ankle. And now we're going to just gently press the foot to the sky and relax. Not to the mat, but just to the start position at hip height. Press and relax. Okay, so it's just a press and relax. Now this can be really super challenging for that lower back because you've lowered the lever or reduced it to where the knee is now bent. Okay, it's even more attractive for the back to start to arch. So really think about making the move not too big. Okay, I'm not looking for great massive height. I'm just thinking engage glutes and core. Engage glutes and core. Last 2 and our final one, and go ahead and just extend that leg out towards the back one more time. Now your right kneecap or the knee which on the active leg you're working is now going to sweep in slightly to the outside of you, almost like you're doing a gentle little dog cocking the leg position, and draw it to your outside elbow. Okay, we're trying not to twist to greet it, so we're still trying to keep our shoulders and our chest in alignment with your mat, and then you come out into your extended leg with a breath in. Exhale, pull that knee to the outside elbow and reach out. So you should start to feel a little bit of those ribs again on that right, pulling together and activated as well with the oblique muscles towards your waist on the right or whichever active leg you're working on. Okay, but you're not looking to twist through the shoulders, making that lovely side of the body do some work, and of course the hip as well. Exhale as you draw that knee in, extend and reach. Don't forget the reach in between. And final one. Bringing that leg out behind you in a pause for our final piece. And now this is going to involve a little bit more of the spine. We're now going to draw our knee in underneath us. It's going to head in towards the center, pretty much the midline of the body. At best, the direction is the opposite elbow, okay? And your nose is going to try and now pull to meet that lovely knee for a close inspection. Extend and reach nice and long. Grow through the cervical spine and neck. Breathe in, exhale, and your knee pulls in slightly across the midline of the body towards your nose and back out, breathing in. Now try and keep those shoulders and arms nice and static still. So you're not looking to do a huge curve of the spine, but what you're now trying to do is pull the front ribs, the hula hoops that we have stacked, they're pulling close together. Okay, nice and strong and pulling nice and close. And last time. And release. Knees coming underneath you, and go ahead and just release into child's pose. If you would like to sweep your arms around behind you just to take your weight off the wrist, and just grab hold of your feet and let the elbows just sink to the floor either side of you, go ahead and pause here. And that can be also done with your head slightly further away, and just let the arms sink down by your sides, okay? If you can't quite reach those feet or those heels, just pause for a moment, or in child's pose, traditional. Wrist rotations if you wish. And we're going to go ahead onto the other side. Of course, anytime you want to drop down for this particular piece, you can go onto your triangles, guys. If your wrists are getting a bit grabby, please do. Okay, so squaring yourself up into 4-point kneeling, let's go ahead and extend that left leg. Really reach and stretch. Reach, reach, reach. Really grabbing that lovely bit of space behind you there, getting into the air and the space around you as much as you can. Let's lower the leg towards the floor, and we're ready for our breath in. Exhale, lifting to bottom height. Long legs through the knee joint. Okay, feel that lovely knee joint stretching as well. Simple exhale, straight leg lift. That's it, breathe in. But again, having a word with those hips. If it's your left leg that's active, just remind your left hip to slightly push down towards the mat. Okay, all of you guys, that's it, superb. Sometimes it can just do a little bit of a lift and we get a twist to the pelvis. We really want to work those glute max behind us. Well done. And lift. And this next time with our lovely lengthened leg, reaching behind us, lift and pause at hip height. Okay, from here, we're going to bend at the knee, bend at the ankle. So we're at right angles at both those joints in readiness for our press to the sky. Breathe in, exhale and press. And nice and slow. Perhaps noticing what's going on with your arms. Is one perhaps starting to bend in order to accommodate this move? Perhaps you're feeling a twist through the spine. Check your hips are both feeling in parallel to the mat, and you've not got your bottom pushed out towards the side. Maybe even you feel your knees starting to track out to the side because that's a bit sneaky. If that's happening, again, just reduce your range and ask it to work with your range of movement rather than go for the shortcuts, which our bodies like to do. Last two, press and release. Last one, press and release, extending your leg out towards the back. Go ahead and find that lovely length. Then we're going to head now slightly out towards the side of the mat. So your knee comes out towards the side and heads towards your outside elbow. Again, not twisting and rotating the spine, but using your ribs and your core to aid the move. Breathing in, exhale, pulling that knee towards your outside elbow, sweeping round. That's it, gorgeous. And then back out, breathing in. Reach, don't forget that reach as the leg goes behind. In both directions, find your maximum space, reach, and in with an exhale, last two. Keep pulling down with those armpits, keep pulling down with those shoulder blades, and then coming back into our pause position with the leg extended out towards the back. Adding in now a little bit of the upper cervical spine, but we're not going to make the shoulders come into this piece. We're going to just gently draw our knee in underneath us, tuck your chin to your throat space, pulling your knee towards your nose, nose to knee, and then extend out along the mat with a breath in. Exhale, nose to knee, just slightly that knee coming across the midline towards the opposite elbow if it needs to. Breathe in. Exhale. Really feel that as you're exhaling, as that knee's coming into your nose, you're creating this massive hollow cave space at the front of your rib cage and chest, but without going into a full extension of the flexion of the spine. Okay, so you're pulling those hula hoop ribs together. Last two. And final one. And release your knees underneath you. Well done. Okay, we're actually going to head into a V-stretch, guys. So I want you to just come into your 4-point kneeling. If you need to walk your hands ever so slightly forwards, go ahead and pop yourself into V-stretch, which might feel quite intense, but actually you've released the angle at the hands, okay, here. So you're not necessarily at quite the same level of intensity. Okay, so you're just going to pause in a V-stretch. If you want to pedal your legs to do it at all or feel whatever's comfortable for you here, relax. And then we're going to release the knees back down onto the floor. And now push into child's pose, gently releasing down, down, down. Well done. Okay, sitting yourself up for one moment. Just give the wrist a bit of a rotation there. And I'm going to quickly show you what we're going to do with our V-stretch. Okay, for you guys, we're going to do V-stretch with our tricep dips. Okay, so it's a very small piece. We've just ever slightly stretched into V stretch there. A little reminder, we're going to head into V. Okay, your heels may not reach the floor, in which case they'll be in a slight hover, which is fine. But I want us to avoid having our heads out and looking towards our hands. The heads are trying to settle between the elbows, and the elbows, sorry, the shoulder blades are pulling down. And from here, we're going to allow the elbows to bend. Now, they might literally go from straight into a slight bend and straight again, and that is fine. Okay, that is the move. Next level, if you can, is heading the elbows towards the mat. Now notice how my elbows should be thereabouts in parallel with the edge of the mat, and then they just come back into straight. So I'm not looking to have my elbows wide. Do you see the difference? I'm looking to have them in parallel and really work my triceps. Heading out wide is a lot more to do there with my rotator cuff, my lats and traps behind me. This is my triceps, okay? It's quite an intense piece, and if you feel immediately it's not for you, just pause and release your elbows to the side, and you can just do a simple spine stretch and also a bit of a tricep work here. Okay, so see how you feel, Rachel. Be careful with your arms. When you're ready, bring yourself bring yourself into your V stretch. As I mentioned, the heels are wherever it's comfortable. Don't force anything. Shoulder blades back and down, head between your elbows. Breathe in, and the elbows are going to head down towards the mat if they can, just gently in parallel to the sides of the mat. Your range of movement is your modification. You may just literally take off the angle of the arm in a small bend and release. You may feel those elbows can travel all the way down to the mat. Try not to bring the head forwards in between, okay? So you're thinking that head stays where it is, Rachel, and it's the elbows doing the bend if you can. Yeah, a little bit, that's it. Well done, that's brilliant, lovely. Well done, Kate, gorgeous. This is a big piece, but we are week 3. And then we're going to gently bring ourselves down with our knees towards the floor and into a little rest and child's pose, okay? All right, so we're going to roll our legs forwards towards the front of the mat and release ourselves into supine lying, okay, which means our knees are bent like mountains towards the sky. Heels are quite close towards your bottoms, okay, because we're going to do a little bit of bridge work, manipulating the spine a little bit here, differently to normal, and work a little bit around the sides of the body again, visualizing the movement of the hula hoops of our rib cage. So, hands down by your sides. A little bit of a press with these arms in. Let's start to remind ourselves of the purpose of our bridge, okay? And this is a lot of it's to do with obviously mobilizing the spine, but learning to press into the mat does help us when we go into overhead work. So really trying to use these arms like your new feet, if you like. When you head up into your lift, you're pressing the arms down to stand into them, if that makes sense. Okay, let's go ahead and just mobilize the spine. Just 2 articulated spine lifts into bridge. So let's go ahead and pull the pubic bone towards you. Start to peel the bottom off the mat, lifting vertebrae by vertebrae and up into your bridge. Breathe in and exhale, releasing back down vertebrae by vertebrae, as we have practiced those last couple of weeks. Okay, starting with the pelvic tilt, pulling the belly to spine. Lovely imprint of that lower lumbar spine as you roll through the thoracic, and notice the back of each hula hoop or rib cage on the spine as you release back down this last time and pause. Pausing down. I'd like you to lift your right heel, guys. So you're onto the balls of the foot on the right. So your toes are down, the balls of the feet are down, but you've lifted your right heel. Okay. Now place it down and lift the left heel. Balls of the feet down, left heel raise. Go ahead again on the right. And I'd like you now to peel up with this heel lifted. So breathe in, go ahead and peel up. And you're into your bridge with one heel lifted. Okay. Now your right heel should be lifted. And I want you now to sink your right hip or bottom cheek towards the mat. So you've got a wonk going across the pelvis. Okay, so right heel lifted, right buttock has sunk down towards the mat. I now want you to think and visualize the right side of your spine, and we're going to peel down, articulating the right side of your spine. So go ahead and release the spine. You're heading down that right side of the spine. The heel stays up, okay? And then you're going to peel straight back up. So you're articulating the side of that spine, okay? It is ultimately a column, although I mean it's a little bit of a lumpy column, but we are looking to go down the side of the spine. Okay, and back up, all righty. So your right heel is lifted, your right buttock is down, And that's allowing you to get a little bit of a roll down the side of the spine. And then this next time we are down, we're going to pause and work on the other side, okay? So releasing down, square yourself up, lift your left heel. And peeling up now into bridge. Let's go ahead with left heel lifted up into bridge. And now we're going to sink the left buttock down towards the mat, okay? Almost as far as it goes, because your right hip is still nice and high and lifted. Now we're going to peel down on the left side, releasing down the left edge of that thoracic spine, down the left side of your lumbar spine, rolling over, if you can, that pelvis, back into your lift. And peeling up, 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 up. Okay, and releasing down. Allowing yourself to get over into that glute as well. As you release, you might feel it's quite nice. You get a little bit further towards the glute med as you roll down towards that final position on the mat. Often an area of tension, you'll see people rummaging around on tennis balls to release those glute med deep muscles. And this can help that area too. And our final time, we're going to come down and rest this next time on the mat in bridge. Pausing down, squaring up your knees towards the ceiling and the pelvis is aligned. Okay. As we're lying down here now, I want you to emulate that movement with your hips, but we're lying down and slightly restricted by the mat. So I want you to hold on, just lift your right hip and push the hip towards the sky and release. Okay, so there's no lift of the buttocks, but lift your hip bones, the bony masses, our ASIS here, the front hip bones, towards the sky and back down. So you're just almost seesawing from left to right. No lift of the bridge at the moment, seesawing left to right. Okay, if that makes sense. And that might ring some bells of the pelvic clock work we've done previously. And a bowl of soup, do you remember the bowl of soup? Tilting from left to right, way back when. And we're going to come and settle in neutral, pausing in neutral. Okay, lift for me your right hip, pause. We are now going to articulate and peel up the spine. Heel stay down. Let's go ahead and peel the bridge up the left side of the spine, and we come into our high bridge. Now flatten the pelvis so both are set straight, hips are straight up to the ceiling. And now I want you to lift your left hip, lower your right buttock. Now travel down the right side of your spine and your back down onto the mat and come into neutral. Now lift your left hip, peel up your right side of the spine, come up into your bridge, roll across your shoulder blades, lowering your left hip, your right hip stays high, lowering down your left side of the spine, release down onto the mat and into neutral. Lifting your right hip, lift up into your bridge, peeling up into high bridge, come into neutral. Lift your left hip so your right hip lowers and release down the right side and come into neutral. Gorgeous, well done. Draw your knees into your chest and gently rock from side to side or small circles if you wish. It feels comfortable for you. Well done. Okay, releasing your feet down onto the mat. Let the knees come out wide into your frog's leg position. And just belly breathe for a moment. Hands on the area below your belly button and just breathe naturally here for a moment. Breathing into the whole of the front space of your body, including around the organs as the diaphragm pushes down and your lungs inflate. Making space around your intestine, around your kidneys, your liver. And leaving the legs where they are, pop your hands into a prayer position for me. So your palms are next door to each other. Palms are together, and go ahead and pop your thumbs between your chest space. Okay, so you're resting on your sternum with your thumbs and your fingertips are pointing up towards your chin. Okay, so you'll need to pull the fingertips and point them up as if they're pointing up your nostrils. Okay, we're going to ab curl when you're ready. Breathing in, if you can, to remember across the shoulder blades, breathe into your happy hammock, across the shoulder blades, bring your chin to your chest and lift into your frog leg, ab curl, releasing back down. Breathe in across the shoulder blades from elbow to elbow. Exhale, tuck your chin to your fingers and lift into your ab curl. Well done. This next time, pause and hold. Breathe in, exhale, pause and hold. Well done. Pausing and holding. Press on the palms of your hands together. Tuck your chin really into your throat space. And we're going to attempt to lift our feet off the mat and lower down. Okay, well done. Breathe in, exhale, lift. Now, if you struggle with the double leg lift, okay, you can modify with one single leg lift and lower. If you're struggling with the head in hover, you can release your hands and pop your hands behind your head. Okay, so lots of modifications. Okay, for you here. We've got 4 more. Big exhale, and maybe the pelvic floors can help with this piece. We know we've worked on them as a complementary piece. When the legs are open, we really like to draw in those pelvic floors. Last 2, and last 1, and release down onto the mat. Gorgeous, well done. And release your arms by your side and draw your knees up to center. Well done. Everyone taking your hands now behind your head, cradling the back of your head space. One more time, breath into that happy hammock, which means your shoulder blades across elbow to elbow. Exhale, chuck chin into your throat space and lift into your abdominal curl. Well done. Belly to spine, pelvic floors are in. Gorgeous. Bringing your arms, reach now forwards towards your knees and lift that chest. Well done. Bring your knee into tabletop and bring your other knee into tabletop. Gorgeous. Into a single leg extension, reaching to 45 degrees with one straight leg and back into center. Breathe in, exhale, and switch. Breathe in, exhale. So hands are not holding the knees unless you have to. The hands are free. Okay, so they're just hovering the hands by your side. Well done. Breathe in, exhale, and switch. Breathe in, exhale, and switch. Modification, of course, if it's too much without the arms, you can always support, whenever you're in ab curl, your head with your hands. And switch and reach and switch and reach. Push the belly to spine as you extend for 2, for 1, placing one foot down, then the other, and peel down, 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 down. Well done. Rolling over now, facing front for me. Peel yourself back up, and we're going to sit in our mermaid position. Now we're going to attempt to have our legs in our Z leg position, which means you've got your legs separated. Top leg, i.e. the one that's higher up, is towards the back, and the lower leg is towards the front. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. If you do struggle with this position, we will be supporting ourselves in a minute, which does help, but you can tuck those legs underneath each other if that feels better for you. Okay. All righty. As I said, we're going to modify, we're going to help support ourselves. So we're going to just pop our hand down by the side of your knees that are bent and not by your feet. So by the side of the knees, that's it, well done. Take in your bent leg, arm side, and pop it just behind your head. Okay. Now a little bit of a press into the mat for me. Go ahead and press a little bit with this hand on the mat. Okay, so with that, you can get a bit of a lift into that spine. And we're going to attempt to now lift our elbow up towards the ceiling. This arm, that's supporting your bend. You're going to lift that elbow towards the ceiling. Okay, now try and look out towards the front still, so we're not looking down towards the floor. And breathe in to the space by the side of your ribs, these hula hoop ribs, okay, to the elbow elevated side, okay? So if it's your left elbow lifted, breathe into your left side of the ribs. If it's your right elbow lifted, breathe into the right side of your ribs, etc. I want you to do 2 or 3 more breaths into this space, okay? So you're really trying to lift and grow to the side of you here, lifting that elbow with every breath in, and then come back through to center. And we're going to switch sides, okay? So popping your hand down now towards those feet, gentle press into that hand and lifting your hand towards your head and lift the elbow. Lift that elbow, and this might feel a bit more comfortable for you. You're going to really breathe in to the left, to the elbow lifted side. Feel where that breath is going. Imagine it heading down around the waist. Perhaps you can imagine it round the armpit or the shoulder blade area. Perhaps you can even feel inflation through the neck and the side of the neck and the arm. Okay, one more breath in. and release. We're going to add in our gesture arm now. As we head over, we're going to gesture over towards the side and reach towards the side and add in the arm. Still breathing into the side space. Breathe in, exhale, and over we go. Breathe into the side space and over we go. Breathe into your side space and over we go. And I'm hoping now we are now with our hands towards our feet, and we're going to then lift and continue the journey of the arm overhead down. I beg your pardon, I've gone the wrong way. I do apologize. Back the other way, over to away from your feet. I do apologize, that didn't feel quite right. We're over towards our knees and both arms are heading down and onto the mat. Okay, so now you've got both hands down on the mat and your knees are far away. Wonderful. Looking down towards the hands. Now the first thing we're going to do is emulate the opening of the shoulder blades that we did in child's pose a moment ago, a few pieces ago. So just continue to look down at the mat. Just breathe in and broad to those shoulder blades. Okay, you'll feel with rotation here, you might feel a little bit more restricted. Just breathe broadly into the back of the rib cage, the back of your shoulder blades, and this upper thoracic spine. With your next exhale, I would like you to lift your gaze and your heart space, and you bring yourself forward into flexion. Okay, so breathing in, into extension, exhale, push that heart space forwards, and breathe out. Breathing in to extension, exhale, heart space forwards, and last time. And bring yourself back through to center. Switching sides now, guys, taking your legs around, choosing if you can do your Z sit or not. Okay, well done. And placing the hand down on the mat towards the knee side, not the feet side. Okay, well done. Arm coming up towards the back of your head, straightening up. A gentle press of this hand into the mat, okay, just so you can give you some purchase and lift. And then the elbow heads up towards the sky. Lifting with the elbow, really try and think about yourself down the side of the body, almost getting as long as you can from the elbow to your hip, down in the at the base of your side of the spine there. We're going to breathe into this space 2 more times, deep breaths. And 1 more breath in. Releasing now to the other side, bring your hands down, hand down towards your feet and elbow is towards the sky. And lifting and breathing in. And exhale. Breathing in, lifting the elbow, pressing slightly with your hand into the mat. And final breath. So we're going to add in our gesture arm now as the hand comes down towards the knee side of the mat. Arm comes overhead and reach and stretch. And arm back towards your feet side and overhead. And 1 more time to the mat. And reach to the knee side, stretch down the side of your spine, final time towards your feet. Releasing the arm now, get it right down towards your knee end of the mat, and your other arm comes up and over and rests by the side of your first arm. Hands are down. First of all, breathing into our thoracic spine, so no flexion or extend, or no flexion. Breathe in and press into those shoulder blades as you breathe in, broadening them from left to right. Eyes are staying down on the mat. Breathe in, make your body do the work. As you breathe in, you allow the spine just gently expand north, south, and then the shoulder blades left, right, east, and west. 1 more breath into that lovely thoracic spine. And then as we exhale next time, lift your heart space and the gaze comes forward and we're into gentle flexion. Breathing in to the shoulder blade area. Exhale, lifting the heart space. Well done. Breathe in and exhale. And final time. And exhale. And gently bring yourself back to center. Gorgeous. We're into 4-point kneeling. We have 2 more pieces to crack through in these last 5 minutes. So bring yourself into 4-point kneeling. Somewhere in the middle of the mat for me, as we're going to progress slightly forwards with our levels and our plank this morning. So into 4-point kneeling. Easy work to begin with, I think, for you guys. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is square ourselves up, and lifting your right hand, I would like you just to touch your left shoulder. Okay, so the right hand lifts and touches the left shoulder. No rotation through the shoulders or hips or spine. Place your hand back down and your left hand touches the right shoulder. Okay, so easy work to begin with. Breathe in, exhale, touch. And breathe in. And this is our level 1, of course. And you can continue here if you are happy. Or we are going to take it slightly further forwards. We're going to take the hands about 10, 20 centimeters forwards. And then your forehead also travels forward to be resting just about over the thumbs, looking down at your pointing fingers, okay? From here, the belly is still in, your shins are relaxed, your pelvic floors are in. That does help. Breathe in, exhale, and touch the alternate hand to shoulder. Opposite hand to shoulder, switching left to right. Obviously, if we didn't, we'd be on our noses. And we're switching from side to side and keeping everything still through the torso, shoulders, and especially the pelvis too. And that's where the pelvic floors come in. Exhale as you lift. And final time. Again, this is our level 2, and this might be where you want to stay. If you can take this another level higher, please extend your right leg out towards the back of you, tucking your toes under, and extend your left leg out towards the back of your mat, and we're into our plank. Okay, let's see how we get on with plank. We're just going to do 4 touches. When you're ready, breathe in. Everything's the same. You're going to think about the belly in, the pelvic floors are strong. You're growing nice and long, trying really hard not to shift. If you're really struggling, you can try and widen those legs slightly. If you find it's a bit tricky, that's a little modification tip. As you broaden the legs, it helps a little bit. Did I say 4? Did I say 6? I'm not sure. If you want to drop down the knees at any point, do so. This is our last one. And then releasing your knees back down. Settle into child's pose, tucking your toes under, flattening your feet if you can, and into your level of child's pose that is comfortable and available for you. Just pause. Pause in your child's pose. Okay. We're going to swing those legs around the front of the mat. And our final piece of work here is a little bit of a refresher for the shoulders and arms. Okay, so we did, you may recall our tricep dips in V-stretch a few moves ago. So we're going to just do one more set now they've had a rest. Triceps tire really quickly. So we're going to do a little bit of work here on triceps before we head off. So hands behind, facing your bottoms if you can with those fingers, okay, for our tricep dips. We can't unfortunately turn them away because you'll never be able to bend the elbow. So modification, if you need to, is just gently placing your hands slightly wider and your fingers slightly out towards the sides of the mat. Okay, so that's a modification for you if you need to. Otherwise, fingers towards bottoms and roughly hip width apart. Tummies in, pull in the pelvic floors and shoulder blades back and down. Okay, so that's our first port of call. So you've got the spine nice and lifted. Now, ignore that and you're focusing on your elbows. Just with the tricep dip, we're attempting, with our V-stretch tricep dip, we're attempting for the elbows to stay in parallel to the side of the mat. We're trying not to have them head towards the side. You see the difference, okay? So we're heading them behind us. Again, the range is up to you, but I would rather you stay in a small range with a gentle softening of the elbow than try and get all the way down and you're just not working those triceps effectively because the elbows splay. Okay, so even if it's just the tiniest of bends and back up, shoulders still pressing down from those ears for me, guys, looking out at the horizon so we haven't got this. That will really restrict your movement. Okay, so chest is open, shoulder blades back. Use that. Gorgeous. Lovely. Well done. Good, good, good. Okay. Now this might be the level that you're happy with, or guys, you're more than welcome to lift your bottom. So level 2, either carry on with another set or we're going to lift our bottom off the mat. Here we go. And we're going to do another set of dips. Okay, so see how we get on with the dips. Sometimes actually, although it's more weight, it's easier with your bottom out the way. So you're more than welcome to have a little go. And if it's not for you, plop that bottom back down. Okay, we've got 4 more. Bottom can go onto the mat at any point. Last 2. Last 1. And bottoms down if they're not already, extending your legs forward and just forward fold to release and stretch. Okay, rolling over onto your side, so we're into a 4-point kneeling in readiness for V-stretch. So don't spend too much time in your setup. Hands are towards the end of the mat, and let's just go ahead and pop into a V. Okay, and just enjoy a little V-stretch if it's comfortable for you, or if you just don't want to hang out here too long, walk those hands back towards your feet for the roll up. Okay, bend your knees if you need to, and then we're going to roll it from here, but just take it nice and slow. Tuck your chin into your chest. Remember, the pelvic floor can also help as we stabilize the pelvis to restart the spine and bring yourself into standing. Gorgeous, well done, standing in the center of your mat. Okay, to finish this session this morning, I'd like you just to bring your arms up towards the ceiling and take your arms out towards a V shape, okay? So hopefully you can see me in that V, breathing in. Okay, let's breathe in. And as we exhale, I want you to grab the air with your fists, okay? And then we're going to pump twice with our elbows in towards our waist with 2 exhales. And then we're going to breathe in. So hands nice and wide in a V, grow nice and tall through the spine. Breathe in, grab the air, exhale, and breathe in. Exhale, breathe in, grab the air around you. Exhale, one more time, fill up, breathe in. Exhale, and release your arms by your sides. Gorgeous. Closing your eyes and take a couple of breaths just to settle the body and mind. Okay, feeling nice and secure on your mats. Breathe in, growing through the thoracic spine, through this upper area, and feel nice and secure. As you exhale, draw in through the core and pelvic floor and feel equally strong. One more time, breath into the thoracic area. Exhale, zip and hollow. Open your eyes. And we are done. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed that session. We got a little bit more into our spine work, but also adding on a little bit more of our resistance work this week. So I'm hoping you're not too stiff. Please take any stretches you want to after the end of this. Remember, triceps, if they were feeling a little bit uncomfortable, go ahead and tricep stretch afterwards. Okay, I don't want you to be too stiff tomorrow. Hope you've got lots of mobilization through the spine. Next week, we're working a little bit more on our leg strengthening work. So well done, guys. Wonderful work. And I will see you and your dogs and everything else that's going on either next week or in Zoom. Take care. Or tomorrow or Friday. See you guys. Bye. Bye.